Hi, I'm Jane with AccuQuilt, and today I'm going to show you how to make the Go Stripe Power Throw. And you'll find that pattern included with the 3.5-inch strip cutter. And I'm going to show you how to finish that. It's a good pattern for beginners. And admittedly, I am a beginner, so if I can do this pattern, so can you. We're going to take the first fabric and cut our 3.5-inch strips. For this pattern, actually we need 7 strips, 7 3.5-inch strips. And what we want to keep in mind when we're lining up the fabric is that you line it up within the blades and as close to the edge of the blades as possible. This minimizes fabric waste. So actually your Go fabric cutter is going to help you save fabric rather than using more. So we'll go ahead and put our mat on top there, and for 7 strips we can actually get this done in just 3 passes, so it's going to be very quick. So we go ahead and roll this through, and when we get to the end we're going to have our perfect 3.5-inch strips, as we can see right there. The next size we're going to do are the 1.5-inch strips, and we will need 12 of the 1.5-inch strips, which we could complete in 3 passes on the 1.5-inch strip cutter. And again, we're going to want to make sure that we line up the fabric as close to the edge of the blade as possible. And again, we can fan fold the fabric to make the most, get the most strips possible from each pass. So we would be able to do 12 strips on the 1.5-inch strip cutter in just 3 passes. So we've got that all lined up, and we'll go ahead and get these strips cut. And again, when we get done running this through, we're going to have nice, perfect 1.5-inch strips, which I can't imagine doing this by hand. So, last but not least, we're going to do the 2.5-inch strips. And actually we would need, if we were going to cut the whole pattern, we would need 2.5-inch strips in 2 different fabrics. One we would need 8 strips for, and one we would need 3 strips. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to show you one of the fabrics. For the 8, we would need to run this through, if we fan fold the fabric, run it through 3 times, and we'd have enough strips to complete this pattern. So I'll go ahead and get this run through, and we'll have our 2.5-inch strips also. Now if you use the fan folding technique and maximize the number of strips you make in each pass, you're going to see that you're able to cut the strips really quickly. And in fact, you've seen how many strips I've done in this short amount of time. You're going to be able to cut this entire pattern in probably 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and fold up the Go and put it down here so I can show you what I've done so far. With my strips over here. Here's what I've assembled so far out of this pattern. You can see that. What I've done is taken one of the 3.5-inch strips and a 1.5-inch strip and attached them, taken them to the sewing machine and sewn them together with a 1/4-inch seam. And then I continued on with the 2.5-inch strip, another 1.5-inch strip, and another 3.5-inch strip, and so on the pattern until that's completed. And then you'll go ahead with their backing and binding, and then you'll have a completed throw. And here's one that's been completed, and it's just beautiful. And you can do something like this. As I said, this pattern is really good for beginners. You can see that I would be able to do this, so can you. and I've managed to do this one without losing any fingers. So if you have any questions on this pattern or anything else, please give us a call at 888-258-7913 or visit us at the website www.AccuQuilt.com, and be sure to visit us at Facebook at AccuQuilt and like us. Thanks a lot.